questions.
Well, first is personally, I was very humbled with the ambience, the setup. That was my very first time, that I will be, entering. So you can see the entire world, at a location, and you can see how policy and politics and diplomacy is being played at the highest level. The humility, of the gathering there is actually overwhelming. And so our president coming in to even be the very first speaker, today, for me, rekindles my hope for Nigeria and the belief that the international community have of us. And I listened to him very carefully. The interesting thing is we always forget history. He started by reiterating that the first time he addressed this audience was 40-something years ago as military head of state, in his own 40s, right? And he had seen the place transform over several decades. And he also did remember to tell us that this will be his very last, as president, and that, Nigeria is an electionary process in which he believes that it will be concluded, and the 78th Assembly will, by the grace of God, be led by a different president in Nigeria. But the critical points that I've taken away from there is how Nigeria, as difficult as COVID and all of those things that have happened to us in the last 2 years, but how we've stood our own and how we've held our own pace in all of the Committee of Nations. How even Nigeria has helped to intervene in other, countries, sovereigns around Africa, in West African regions, all of the places where there have been disruption, military coups and counter coups and rest of it, and how Nigeria has raised up, to mitigate and to help stabilize politics at that time. And of course, he talked around general economic issues, general, the war in Ukraine and Russia, and how it has disturbed, global supply chain, and how it has affected, business to business and even government to government, right? But at the end of the day, what I can also, see as his point, is that, there might be divisions, there might be quarrels, but that we also need ourselves, we also need ourselves. And I have great quotes that have come out from his speech. I can't remember them now, but he took very strong lines to end his speech, which I believe that indeed he has earned his pay as Nigerian's president at the General Assembly this year.
He reaffirmed his commitment towards entrenching the process of free and fair elections in Nigeria. How do you feel?
Yeah, he did actually. He did, because for someone to have even said that by this time next year, it's certain that it will be another president that will be representing Nigeria, at the 78th Assembly. Goes to the credence that he knows is packing, already, and he wants to conduct a free and fair election come next year. And he also advocated, his commitment for climate change, which will be reflected maybe at the COP27, all of the global issues, that is affecting. So for me, I see a man that is truly committed, to ensuring that democracy lives, thrives, and is able to hand over to a democratically elected government come next year.
The call to forgive our debts has made any impact at all? Because we made the same call last year.
Well, so what I think with debt, because everybody talks about debt, there has to be some intention, there has to be some direct steps that you need to take, and how a lot of nations are looking at it now is around climate adaptation, and I believe that Nigeria should learn. There's a lot of countries that are putting, climate funding together. They're doing a lot of creative things, on the climate. And those are some of the new ways at which people will know that they are doing things differently. And people can indeed, think about debt forgiveness. It's always a short end of the stick. Everybody talks about it. But hey, it doesn't mean that they are going to do it. You have to be intentional about what are the other things that you will need to do for you to, truly really be able to, ask for something. And like I said, climate adaptation is one of the areas in which we all need to look at, and rightly so, because of how our country is also set up. Thank you very much.